let's continue on with questions here. So we talked about how you can kind of do the basic design of questions, but what other things can you do? On the right hand side, you've got the add question button, which throws a question in that you then can design what type of question you want. On right below that, you could import questions from other Google Forms if that's something you wanted to do. So if you have forms, like let's say I wanted to bring in my questions from the Joker cinematography, it basically brings up a spot where I can decide what I want to bring in, and it brings that in for me. So for example, I brought in the trailer and I brought in some of the questions that I had. And I'm going to get rid of these other questions real quick. So I basically have 3 questions in this Joker trailer that they can watch. Now you might say, where did you get the Joker trailer? At any point, you can click down here and press add a video. Now you can search for a video. So for example, let's say I want to bring in one of my own trainings or one of your pre-made YouTube lessons that you made for your students. You could put that in there. You could title it, and then you could add questions that go along with that video. You also can use a URL, meaning you could take a YouTube video that you've seen out there and you could take the URL. So if you were to take URL for this, I'm going to pause, grab that URL, come on back to forms, paste that URL in, and it finds that video if you want to put that in. You also can put in titles and descriptions. Titles and descriptions are more used for directions. But you also can move these around just like a question. So if you want them above the video, you can do that. They're sort of headers, if you will. Next is sections. If you do a section, basically you can create different sections. So after section 1, it submits that form and then goes on to section 2, or you go to section 2, or you can go to section 1. And there are some teachers who use this for storybooks, where if the student chooses one path, they go down and get a second part of the form. If they go down the first path, they stay on the main track of the form. People do scavenger hunts this way. It's really up to you. You can kind of design a path using topics and sections. So again, when it comes to questions, you can add a question at any point. Once you're in that question, you can design it. Remember that required means that a student would not be able to go past that particular question. You can rearrange your questions, but one thing that's very important is if you're going to have videos and the videos correspond to the questions that are directly below them, you're not going to want to shuffle your question order in presentation. If you shuffle your question order, the videos and things like that will get out of order. So in this situation, I would actually not want my questions shuffled because I want my video to play with my questions. As you move down, you'll see that this follows with you. So if you're like, I want to get rid of this section, you can do that. So that is how you make questions in Google Forms. Use your editor to pick the kind of content you want to build, rearrange and edit the question by clicking on that particular question. And in the next video, we're going to talk about this added response validation area.